All right, so we're here with Kobe, aka CaelesLuna, the master of Overheal Priest,
What
and
can I say?
possibly top 10 NA finisher, based on how the rankings work. And so today we're going to be going over basically his deck. So, what is your deck intro for this deck?
There is a very short list of fundamentals. In all matchups that you play with this deck, you're trying to cheat mana. You're just trying to cheat mana for different reasons. The deck has a lot of adaptability power, and you have avenues for um, either using your excess tempo to stuff more shit on board in aggressive matchups, or stuff shit in your back pocket to transition to late game in control matchups. You are almost always spending your excess tempo on either having a swing turn in aggro matchups in your back pocket, or multiple copies of Aman'Thul or Ignis weapons, or a um, a lot of copies of something like Funnel Cake or Flash Heal with Pip for your Hedanis. That is what you're spending your excess tempo on. And in the meantime, you are just trying to survive, trying to stop the enemy from progressing their game plan. Uh, a lot of the time, um, the the most basic win con this deck has, which is relevant for every matchup, is popping off with your a lot of adaptability, good, really good matchup spread. By good matchup spread, in this case, I mean neutral matchup spread. There are win cons in every matchup. There's no auto lose matchup.
Yeah, looking at my win rate, the worst matchup it looks like is Warrior, which is to be expected, and it is
Absolutely.
41%, which isn't that bad, even considering like a bit of a skill gap between some warriors, and that that does kind of impact the deck a bit. With Mage being the second worst at 51%, and that has been getting harder as you get higher ranks. But in general, I feel like most of the time you can beat mages, but 51% kind of tells enough of a story there.
Yeah, high variance in the mage matchup. Warrior is for sure your worst one. I have quite a few notes on them.
Yeah. And if there is
One
no
threes auto keep. Sorry,
go on. So the Clergy.
Crimson Clergy auto keep every matchup. That is your ideal turn one. Um, Almost anything else in the grand majority of matchups hinges on this 1-3, but there are two other pretty good keeps. Creation Protocol, right?
Yep.
Creation Protocol, also a keep in almost any matchup. Um, but there's some pretty high variance with this card. You Injured Hauler uh, is, in my opinion, occasionally bait. Injured Hauler is totally like not a keep versus Warrior, because it does not progress your game plan in a meaningful way. Sometimes it's a keep versus Warrior if you have if you're keeping it either with a fan club or an Animate Dead, because that's a meaningful way to generate a lot of stats, and that's kind of a good way to just fill the space of the early game against Warrior in a way that demands a response. Um, Warrior and Druid accepted. Aggro matchup, you want your Hauler, absolutely. Auto keep. Um, so those three cards, right? Clergy, Protocol, and Injured Hauler.
Yep.
Those are, in my opinion, the only three cards in this deck you keep on their own. Sometimes I'm greedy and I keep Fan Club if I'm in a matchup where Fan Club synergizes with like 2 or more minions in my deck in a meaningful way. But Clergy, Protocol, Injured Hauler, those are your 3 soul keeps. And then it gets a lot more complicated, because if you keep Clergy, you usually keep Fan Club, and you usually keep Animated Dead. And Clergy activates basically like the majority of your deck. And so things like Clergy Synchronize are absolutely busted. Especially in matchups like Mage, where they don't have a lot of like tall removal early, and so they're kind of scrambling for stuff like that. Because then they're spending, spells out of their hand that they can't energy shaper and whatnot. Mage is pretty good for stuff like that.
So yeah,
Yeah.
let's get into it just a little bit more, because this is kind of how I think about it, and I've had a hard time putting together like what the mulligan, like the best way to mulligan with the deck is, because a lot of it does kind of change on the fly. I would always tell people keep Injured Hollow with Animate Dead just in general, just because it's a lot of tempo. However, you're saying that Fan Club is pretty much makes it playable as well, right?
I think Fan Club makes it playable as well, in the same capacity that Animate Dead does, because a 3/6 is the same as a 3/7 in most matchups. It's definitely like not an ideal avenue against things like Warrior. Your ideal avenue for winning the game in any matchup is creating. So basically, you want to create a lot of little machines with this deck, and your most impressive machine is your draw engine with like double Clergy, Fan Club, Funnel Cake, chaining into playing Thirsty Drifters early. Cathedral of Atonement, as far as I know, has a pretty high mulligan win rate in decks like these. It's, again, like sort of like a backup plan. Cathedral of Atonement is a beautiful keep if you have an early minion, in my opinion. I like keeping Hidden Gem and Cathedral of Atonement together. That's another, like, that's a 2-card combo that you can keep. But I don't like keeping like one of those things or the other. Hidden Gem is a great keep with basically like a lot of your deck. It's a great keep with Clergy in any matchup. It's a great keep with Holler against aggro, and it's a great keep with Atonement in any matchup, in my opinion, because that's just a friendly minion that you have to target. And Hidden Gem is a really good example of what I mean by stuffing resources in your back pocket, because it's a stealth minion. It's essentially like equipping a weapon that has a heal aura that activates your overheal effects. But it's like a secondary keep, because it's also like it's a combo piece where what you're mostly looking for is I guess how would you say this? The motor of the engine. The motor of the engine being your Clergy or your Holler. So true.
I will protect my legacy.
Amp keep it.
A lot of people just generally like to run audio amp without. Well, they do it in Reno Warrior because there's a combo with Gaslight Gatekeeper and Boom Boss at 11 mana that usually insta draws all 6 TNTs.
Yeah, that play is pretty fun. That play will probably become more meta. Post rotation. That's not going. Let's keep Creation Protocol, right? Like.
Yeah, it's just a Creation Proto keep, especially going first. I think Proto is pretty good going first.
Okay, Turbo Hedanis gameplay. That's good. mean, the deck still runs a lot of draw. He had 10 cards the same when he finished.
So almost always, we're just trying to establish Needle Rock Totem. That's gonna be like the point of contention at any point. It's the first few turns. Are crucial to establishing your mid game, which is crucial to preventing Odin, which is crucial to like bridging to your late game, i.e., playing a weapon. So it is like a very narrow win con. You just have to be thinking about it every turn. For example, it's like this turn, what we could forge, or we could just try to hit an injured hauler and play it and then res it, which like affects the board sooner, because otherwise you're just not getting rid of the totem.
Was lucky. I think people just like the idea of being able to tempo it, and I don't think they lose enough from it. I mean, LBG's player. So you say I should just drop the 3/3 then? I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll just set up in the world for it. Then I play Hedanis on 4.
So this is like. This is a turn at which I can freely like put my own shit in back pocket here through mana cheat, and you're establishing 3/3, but I just want to continue my own setup here. So as the warrior, I'm trying to bridge the gap to drawing a shit ton of cards on like turn 5 and 6. Mage roping every turn from 1 to 8. That's based. I like that.
Yeah. So for this turn, I would think. The first thought is I should just spend all my mana and do Creation Protocol and just bump it too. Because the 3/3 is like whatever. I don't need. It probably dies about as often as a 3/7, and I don't. Pure power in it, which would only put it to a 3/5. I guess that's pressure. I don't think. Runs my mana very well.
Yeah, there's definitely that. And then there's also like. There's also making it a like a 5/8 and bumping while still having the opportunity to res it for 1 mana. Like, because if you don't heal it, it dies to Axe, and like the warrior wants to play Axe on 4.
Put it on Axe.
Watch the thorns.
And that's awesome, because that actually does put me in a more awkward situation. Because I'm still just going to play Hammer and Swing for armor.
I almost just want to hit trying to hit Pip from Protocol. Put out Forged and like hit stuff like Ignis.
Well, I don't have anything on board, and you are like applying pressure. So it's like a really awkward hand, right? Because you don't know if you want to like draw Hedanis yet. You can't play Aman'Thul till turn 7, so you don't necessarily need to proto this turn. If you want to spend all your mana, you can play Hedanis and flash heal it. It puts it puts 2 dudes on board, and which is a good number of dudes to have versus warrior. But you can also just put more shit in your hand because I still have to deal with the 5/4.
It's fine.
All right. Let's see, that's nice.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense to just play for Aman'Thul. Because
Yeah.
if Aman'Thul sticks at any point, then I can just like drop it on us. I just need to figure out some way to bridge my turn, but if the 5/4 dies, then I just have double 3/7s, which is always a turn. Yeah.
Your last. My bad. See, that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do that turn. But 5/4 is such an awkward stat line for warrior because all of their board clear is in intervals of 3, except for Blade Storm, which is extremely valuable. So if you force out Blade Storms at unideal times, it's pretty good. And now we're having a bit of a problem by default because we don't like have an extremely powerful turn, but you have double Animate Dead on like 3/7s. That's really good. Demands a response.
I could play a lot of 3/7s here.
Yeah. That was like a really impressive way to like divvy up health totals on the board. That was like it sucks that I have the 1/3 to trade with here, but that was like I would say that was like a really exceptionally played turn. So here it's turn 6. I'm the warrior. You haven't played your major threats yet. I'm trying to draw a fuck ton of cards. So now, unfortunately, I got lucky on rolling Blade Storm, so I get to do cool shit anyway.
I'll just play Aman'Thul.
And now I have Cryo, but you can start dropping Aman'Thuls this turn.
Overdraw. Oh, hell
You
yeah.
overdraw, but it's whatever.
That was a silly play. I don't know. Fuck it. I'll go for it.
Intriguing stuff. So now this puts me in an extremely awkward spot. Because, like, so what happened this game was you didn't put much on board for me to, like, need to react to in the first few turns, except to clear my totem, which was what mattered, like, the most in the early game. And in the mid game, you made it so I couldn't, like, effectively draw my deck while also clearing your board at the same time. I had a 0-mana Blade Storm, but I was forced to use it, so I can't use it now.
Fucking slam. Come on and slam.
So now I have to leave the Aman'Thul out, which is extremely dangerous.
Pretty sure I just go in.
You will all cheer for me.
I also should have swung, so if this is exact lethal, that wasn't a great example of how I should have played the turn, because I should be at, like, exactly 3 more armor, but...
Got these. Unfortunately, you're mega alive. But that probably means you don't play Odin this turn, at least.
Yeah, I definitely cannot play Odin into that. But it's not ideal. Because now you don't have a Hedanis anymore.
Speak to me.
Just gonna do this as to not overdraw.
Potential. Heroes that champion order. Looking for a stand-up? Careful, it's against me.
Ignis, where are you?
Yeah, see, that's the problem, right? Because you basically, no matter what, in this matchup, you have to have a decent engine at any point in the game. So it's like, you didn't draw your Clergies, so you didn't get to spend the early game playing Clergies and free 4/6s, which would have robbed me of a lot of my removal. And even though you played the mid game really well, the deck still just kind of loses to it.
Amuse me with your tales of victory.
But I was forced to wait until turn 10 to Odin.
Sweet, beautiful water.
Together in harmony. It's a little light on
Get him,
the
Glug.
here.
Hmm. Yeah. It was enough.
Never give up. Run away.
But how? I didn't have lethal.
Well, I did not have a way to get through those taunts.
Actually, I might have had lethal. Did the whole deck? I mean, I wasn't counting aftershocks. I just figured you had one. I figured you had one.
Yeah,
Blade
no, I used both already. I had to because specifically because like you were playing around Bladestorm, so I had to both Bladestorm and Aftershock.
Nice.
So yeah,
Are you running the
basically,
1 mana gift?
I was running 1 mana gift, but I had to use it to clear hand space for my combo.
Brand Warrior is kind of easy to beat, man. I don't know. In comparison, like Brand Warrior, I don't know. We played against the Brand Warrior like LVGs or what we did, but it was like that game was just weird in general, and we still almost won. So
Yeah, Brand Warrior is definitely a lot easier than Odin.
because like they can't really like. There's not like a lot of turns where they can boom boss like safely by the time they're trying to boom boss, and Estalor kind of just doesn't kill you on its own. It takes like 3 turns to kill you with Estalor, which is like
Oh,
way
yeah,
better
dude,
than dying in 1 turn from Odin.
I
So,
tanked 4 double battle cry Astalors against that deck and won. It was crazy.
okay, let's Reno first. Made that matchup easier. Yeah. I mean, if we can get the Reno out, it's definitely like, but making them play Reno is pretty much a win con, especially if they do it before
Yeah, exactly.
before Odin.
It's just about counting clears and not putting all your eggs in one basket against that deck. Like so it's like you set up an awkward board, right? And then it's like immediately you're putting double Aman'Thul in your hand. So you just have like a great response for whatever I bring out. And then at the point at which like if I try in that game specifically, if I tried to be greedy, you had like a way to severely punish that. So I couldn't necessarily not Reno. The warrior just tries to hold Reno as long as possible and ideally plays it after Odin so that they can OTK you like the following turn and you can't like load the board with taunts.
Alright. Do we queue game?
Let's queue a game.
New game time.
Let's see if we can make it happen in the real world.
Give him to a Warlock. Or a DK. God, I love playing against Rainbow DK. Nothing their deck does matters to me at all.
No,
It's just
absolutely
like,
it doesn't.
it's such a bad matchup, dude. Like, oh, they put a bunch of stuff that you have to do a lot of damage over and over again to kill. It's like, so just everything
know,
just
I know,
dies
it's
to
great.
the Holler. Great.
We have
Rogue.
like Silence and Holler.
I make my own.
Got a rogue.
I will protect my
Oh, this hand is fire, though. What the fuck?
Check this out.
I almost just want a full keep. Also, full keeping strikes fear into my enemy, so, you know, The Synchronize might not be the best thing, but I definitely think I'd keep Flash Shield, Collar, and Animate
Oh,
Dead.
that is fire hands. We don't keep sync, but
Are you sure,
because
man?
we
Think about the mental we put in this guy in there. Like,
don't.
like, you see a priest full keep and then coin injured hauler, you're like, all right, I'm like doing the toilet.
That as based as that is, Sync is like I think really bad with Holler.
Oh, look at
Oh, apparently not. Awesome.
Here we go again.
I mean, we
I
are
mean,
going to win. So.
It works here because
here's
we
the
can do
thing,
hauler.
right? We know what we're gonna do. Turn.
We're not.
We just coin hauler
We
on
can.
two.
This is tough. I think we do trade.
I got
Sometimes I think about like keeping shard in hand versus rogue, because it's useful like a really large chunk of the time, and like rogue is so board oriented early. It's like so like super effective to just have holler out and watch them not be able to play anything, and sometimes they cope their way into still playing the 4/4 into it with the intention to pop off later, and that's why sometimes I like to just hold on to shard. But I think we just want to draw because we don't have very much to diverge from the holler plan.
Dude,
Whoa. This
this
is awesome.
play is now awkward.
Holy. What are we gonna do?
This doesn't. It's not till end of turn. Yeah, that's fair. I need to.
It's definitely a little awkward. We can just chill till next turn. And funnel cake it if we want. If we heal our face and pass, we still remove his entire board at the end of next turn. And there's very little else we can like do next turn by default. Because we don't have a clergy in it.
I almost want to see what I can do though, which is one thing to do. Try and get the Hedanis kill because it actually seems possible. Like if we hit Pip, we just instantly.
This would be a really good Pip game, but we don't have a Pip.
I hit AoE, it's like pretty good. I almost want to
Whatever.
this thing.
This is just sort of like we're making sure we have no awkward turn, so we're taking our awkward turn now because we just like can.
Animate Dead and just Synchronize. Also interesting. Bully him.
Yeah, absolutely. That just like makes a 4/9. That's really good. But it starts being good next turn.
Because we do have to keep one of them. For crab, ideally, right? Well, I guess we went first, right? So
No, we went second.
he always crabs into our 6, which means Luna crab, which is my favorite play in the whole world.
It seems like he doesn't have Scourge Dude, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Maybe that where he fell asleep because I go play so long.
He might
That's-
have fallen asleep as well.
That's a real play.
He's playing against Priest after all.
The priest is literally roping every turn. That's why I feel bad. That's the only reason I feel bad playing this deck sometimes is that he rope a lot.
Okay, he
Yeah,
did
we killed him.
actually just fall asleep. Well,
Alright,
whatever.
so I'm gonna make a 4-6.
We make a 4/9. Awesome. See, but that's what I mean, right? Because if it's like we are suspending this threat of clearing his board over his head, and we kind of had an awkward hand. So if we're gonna have an awkward turn, we might as well allocate that awkward turn to turn 3 when we're not in danger and we have the option to swing back.
Okay, if I hit this and it hits Pip, I just instantly win the game.
Yeah.
I hate this game. It's so bad. Alright, well he
No,
Priest
that
full rip
like, it didn't
gameplay.
end up being very relevant, but it did demonstrate a pretty good example of just holding the threat of a board clear in hand, because it's not just holding the threat of a board clear in hand, it's holding the threat of a swing turn in hand. So it's like it's good for bridging the gap between, like, say, turn you have the option to clear the board on turn 5, and you have Aman'Thul on 7. If you can survive, you might as well delay it, as long as it's, like, cost effective to play it on turn 6, because they're going to have to spend a turn clearing your board because you, like, played a swing turn, and then you can follow up with Aman'Thul. It's a very big swing deck.
All right. We can do another one. Rogue has been pretty favored.
Rogue is pretty favored IMO. More so than Mage, because Mage mana cheats more.
That's pretty. Oh no, one more game and I have 200 games with this deck. All right.
Well, alright, let's hit it.
You into you, Overheal Priest. I'm leaving too. Yeah, game 200. Let's see. With the 58.29% win rate, that's not too bad. I was in the shitter ranks. I climbed from 3K to like 111 on the last day of the season.
Did you say 3K to 111?
Yeah. I just played Priest for
That's
10 hours,
crazy, man.
and I had like a 62% win rate the whole time. It just like it stomped all the shitty decks, so
Yeah.
it's really punishing anything off meta, which is funny. Like all the other like fun off meta like weird decks just completely get shit on. I'm guessing we don't keep any of this because it's kind of ass. So.
We're
I
going
was like,
second.
okay.
So it's like Shard isn't an awful keep, but it's not great. It's like negligible.
Oh fuck yeah,
Hey,
dude. We
look.
always get this combo.
Awesome.
Learning curve first games. Ah!
Hell yeah.
I spectated Caelus a lot, and I play a lot of meme priest decks. And so this is like the best of all the meme priest decks. This is like if Ogre Warrior and like Fizzle Priest, or Ogre Priest, Fizzle Priest, and like all the other shitty priest decks and Thief Priest, like all had a like baby, and it was actually successful. Alright, I'm trading. Alright.
Trade. We mad
Okay.
trade.
I don't think there's nothing that we care about silencing. Well, I guess there's a lot
Injured
of things.
Fuller on 3 makes us so happy here. We do care about silencing like that in this deck. It's not bad. But
Well, I mean, I would always coin it here, but Hidden Gem is like also like pretty sick, right?
we're like, I don't know. I think we prefer to get it's like tempo for us to get the 3/7 into the res pool. And also sometimes he can AoE the 2/2 and fuck up our plan. So we just
Yeah,
want to
fair.
guarantee that we have this 3/7 in the back pocket in our Animate Dead, I think.
I feel like Fizzle's core, but that may not be right. The next turn would be his AoE turn, so I kind of feel like I just don't play the Hidden Gem. It doesn't matter. I just hear power.
It's definitely like a perspective AoE turn. There's like he wants to play Helya next turn. So Animate Dead into Hidden Gem is like pretty effective here, I think, because he can't clear your board with AoE, and it puts a lot of stats on board. So he has to and it's a machine, right? It's an engine that destroys his board at the end of every turn, and he can no longer do anything except try to advance his plague plan.
I'm the machine.
Yeah. I'm a machine that turns damaged minions into overhealed minions.
I just
That-
love
That
healing,
can
man.
probably be workshopped a little better.
Heckin' love.
Heckin' love playing priest.
Dark's the best class, man. Everyone has the
Anduin
most
is
fun.
like wholesome 100 for real, for real.
I wasn't winning
Like,
a ton
he
of
loves
games,
animals.
but people would actually like send me hate messages a lot when I was playing Thief Priest. Though. Like,
Did you say Thief Priest?
yeah, I was
I
having
love
fun
Thief
with
Priest.
Thief Priest.
Dude, I actually, oh. First of all, unlucky. Actually, it's like pretty damn good that we're... Okay, you know what we can do here? We can light it burns the 3/4, right? And then it doesn't... It just dies at the end of turn and doesn't draw anything. And then we can... Yeah, we're so good.
And I can just live in the shadows. Fuck it.
Plagues drawn. Machine upkept. See, like, he's coping right now. He has to play, like Acolyte of Death. It dies automatically.
That's an emo right there.
Like what he
That's-
spent his entire turn on. Like, we have, like, broken this motherfucker's ankles.
We only need one.
How could you?
That's illegal. That's a really good pip, man.
That Pip in his double location, probably? Both buttons? Well, it doesn't full clear
Yeah.
the board at all.
It doesn't full clear the board, which sucks. I mean, we definitely, like, want a pip here. The question, in my opinion, is, do we drop a funnel cake this turn? We could.
It'll give
We
us
play
draw
pip next.
and Thirsty Drifters.
Yeah, we play it next to the Holler. Fan club once, funnel cake once. And then we can fan club again and play Drifter. Cool.
I hit the button.
We can hit the fan club. We're at no risk of, like, we have too many stats on board for it to matter at this point.
Sweet, beautiful water.
I just really wanted to trade, but I have to use my second funnel kick, which I don't know. It's not like the worst thing ever. Just squeezing all the tempo out of a turn. I guess the way it matters is if he does some amount of damage to this, and good.
Yeah, the only thing that really matters is, like, Reska, and he does not have enough corpses
Well,
for Reska.
we're also like gigaplating for 5/8, which is ideal.
Yeah.
Hooray.
So we did draw first. And we can, oh, nice. We can just, like, silence gem Clergy.
We trade first then?
You're allowed to.
Let's feed a
Why not?
Frostbug.
Interesting stuff. Okay, so we silence first, right? Just to get that out of the way.
I don't want to play
Now-
the Clergy. Like, it's
We
guaranteed
don't
a lot of
actually
damage.
have to play the Clergy. I think we can just hero power the 5/8 this turn, even.
Well,
Or we can
should
play the
play
Hidden Gem. Playing Hidden Gem is good here because it detracts from him possibly having
Well-
Reska.
Okay, if I play that now, I threaten lethal next turn. I threaten lethal next turn either way, though. So this is lethal if he also draws a Blood Plague, which he has 2 in my deck. So I guess this is just slightly better. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's a chance I have to draw to
Yeah.
find lethal. So
Yeah, you want to basically have as much in your back pocket as possible. Hidden Gem, honestly, kind of, like, irrelevant to that.
okay, then he could also just have bad cards in his deck. His hand, so.
He does have bad cards in his hand and deck. He's running Cult Neophyte. Lol. So I think, yeah, we just try to draw lethal, I guess.
And the impure fall.
Yeah. We can try to find Hedanis. I think we can play Hedanis, and yeah. If we find Hedanis with that, without forging it, we can play it. Yeah. Funnel cake
Doesn't
again.
this doesn't super matter, but
Yeah. Based. Yeah, no, Death Knight matchup. Honestly, I don't think I've actually ever lost against a Death Knight with this deck. It is super easy.
I kind of almost do there, but fairly unlikely for it to matter.
I just don't. Again, most of the time, aggro is simple philosophically, like their tempo matchups. But tempo can mean different things in different matchups because with this deck specifically, like with Overheal Priest, you it's a mana cheat deck. And so oftentimes there is always a margin to like to have excess tempo, and you want to know what to do with that excess tempo, like what to put in your back pocket. I'll write a little more about that before I send it to you. But Warlock is an extremely intricate matchup, and there are it's not so much about key turns with Warlock because they just have a lot of cheap resources. They're not trying to spend like a certain turn dropping some sort of like win condition. They have a lot of little win conditions. So it's like about being a little more scrappy, and it's about it's mostly just IMHO about spending your mana, like a lot of the time.
Got it. That makes sense. All right. Well, I think that's all our time. This was pretty
Alrighty, sir.
helpful. I think you did a great job of explaining the deck. I mean, and coaching in general. Good times. Are there any socials that I should shout out, and either if I make this into a video or on Twitch chat right now?
Um,
You're not really streaming
I'll
anymore
I'll
anymore,
post
so
my I'll post my Twitter in chat.
boom, easy. All right.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go on and do like
Hey
a normal
man,
stream now.
I had a lovely time. Thanks for introducing me back to coaching.
Yeah, man. And if people want to reach out for more coaching, they just maybe ping you on Twitter.
DM me, Twitch, Twitter,
All right.
either of those things.
Sounds
There
good,
we
dude.
are. All right. Been a pleasure, Makiah. Happy to work with you.
Man, GG's.
GG's.